We're counting down the 13 biggest mistakes that turn long motorcycle rides from a dream into pure misery. From physical pain points and hidden mental traps to gear disasters and planning failures, these ranked errors catch even experienced riders off guard, sometimes leading to trip-ending fatigue, nerve injuries, or dangerous blackouts that no one sees coming. Expect surprising stats, expert advice, and hard-earned lessons from the touring community. Which mistake is quietly sabotaging your endurance right now? And which one earned the top spot as the ultimate trip killer? Let's kick off the countdown with number 13. Number 13. Wrong riding posture is the silent trip killer that creeps up mile by mile. A slouched back or twisted wrists might seem harmless at the start, but over hours, these small mistakes multiply into aching shoulders, numb fingers, and a stiff neck that won't let you check your mirrors. Physical therapists warn that riding with bent wrists or a rounded spine increases muscle fatigue and raises your chances of making control errors. Handlebar and foot peg positions that force your arms too high or your feet too far back put extra load on your joints, draining endurance long before you expect it. The quick check: when seated, your wrists should be straight in line with your forearms, and your back should feel neutral, not hunched. If you start feeling tingling, burning, or a dull ache, it's your body's first warning. Adjust now, before a minor annoyance turns into a ride-ending injury. Number 12. Running out of emergency supplies turns a minor breakdown into a survival problem. A DV rider forums are full of stories where riders skipped packing a basic kit and paid the price. No water in the desert, a flat tire without a patch, or a snapped lever with nothing to hold it together. One rider faced a 36-mile push in triple-digit heat after a puncture, all because he left his repair kit at home. The minimum fix is light and simple: a water bottle with electrolytes, a compact puncture kit, zip ties or a small tube of epoxy, a multi-tool, and a basic first aid pouch. These 5 pieces fit in a tank bag and can turn a disaster into a delay. The mnemonic is easy: water, fix, tie, tool, patch. Riders who skip this checklist risk hours stranded, dangerous exposure, or worse. Don't let a forgotten kit be the reason help is miles out of reach. Number 11. Ignoring early nerve compression signs is a mistake that can cost you months or even years of riding freedom. It starts small: tingling in your fingers, a patch of numbness in your palm, maybe a burning ache in the heel of your hand after a few hours on the bars. Most riders shrug it off, blaming a tight glove or a cold morning. But these are your body's red flags. Clinical reports from orthopedic journals tell the story. A 54-year-old tourer brushed off numbness for 3 days, only to end up with permanent ulnar neuropathy confirmed by nerve testing. He needed surgery, and even after rehab, his rides are now limited to 150-mile stints. The fix is immediate. Stop, shake out your hands, adjust your grip, and if symptoms don't fade, cut the day short. Don't tough it out. Early nerve signals are urgent. Miss them, and you may never get full strength back. Number 10. Saddle soreness isn't just a minor ache. It's your body's early warning that blood flow is getting cut off where you sit. After a few hours, pressure points on a static seat start to burn, then fade into numbness. That numbness isn't relief. It's a sign that nerves and blood vessels are under stress, and ignoring it can lead to lasting damage. Veteran tourers call it static seat syndrome, and their fix is simple: keep moving. Every 20 minutes, stand on the pegs, shift your weight side to side, or do a quick peg dance to restore circulation. Some riders swap seats or add gel pads, but no gear can save you if you stay frozen mile after mile. If soreness creeps in and doesn't fade with movement, it's time to rethink your saddle. Don't let pride or penny pinching turn a warning sign into a permanent limitation. Early action here keeps you riding strong, not sidelined by injury. Number 9. Skipping stretching and position changes is the mistake that turns a long ride into a slow motion breakdown. Most riders hit what the community calls the 35-hour wall. Somewhere after 30 hours in the saddle, stiffness and joint pain start piling up, and every mile feels heavier than the last. It's not just muscle aches. Without regular movement, ligaments tighten, blood flow drops, and cramps can lock up your legs or back at the worst possible moment. Iron Butt veterans warn that if you're not building micro-mobility rituals into your stops, 3 to 5 minutes of stretching, walking, or even just swinging your arms, you're setting yourself up for collapse. Physiotherapists recommend a quick off-bike routine. Stand tall, twist at the waist, stretch your hamstrings, and roll your shoulders before every remount. Some riders cap their days at 10 hours. Others swear by a maximum of 350 miles before calling it. The fix isn't a long yoga session, it's consistency. Break the chain of stiffness before it breaks your ride. A few minutes at every stop can mean the difference between finishing your route and abandoning it halfway. 8th place, dehydration is the silent thief that drains your energy long before you feel thirsty. On a motorcycle, wind and sun work together to pull moisture from your skin at a surprising rate, up to a liter per hour in hot, dry conditions, even if you're not sweating. The airflow strips away sweat before you notice, masking early warning signs. Headache, lightheadedness, and a creeping mental fog are the first red flags, but by the time you spot them, your reaction time and decision-making have already taken a hit. That's when missed turns, sloppy braking, and micro-sleeps become real threats. Iron Butt veterans don't leave hydration to chance. They use hydration packs with bite valves, taking small sips every 10 to 15 minutes, not just at stops. Electrolytes matter. Plain water alone can't keep your nerves firing right after hours in the saddle. If you start feeling off, don't push through. Pull over, rehydrate, and wait for your mind to clear. Out here, hydration isn't a comfort. It's your first line of defense against mistakes you can't undo. Number 7. Dead grip is the silent thief that robs you of control long before you notice. After hours on the throttle, most riders start squeezing harder than they need, turning every mile into a hand and forearm endurance test. Electromyography studies back up what veterans already know. About 84% of riders show measurable extensor muscle fatigue after long stints. That's not just an ache. It's a direct line to slower braking, sloppy throttle, and missed shifts when you can least afford them. The 1-minute self-test is simple. At your next stop, try flexing and spreading your fingers wide. If it feels stiff or shaky, your grip is too tight. The fix starts on the bike. Relax your hold, let the bars rest in the crook of your fingers, and use the base of your palm to steady the throttle. Shake out your hands every few miles, swap finger positions, and stretch your wrists at each break. Adjust levers so your hands fall in a straight line from forearm to fingertips. These small tweaks restore fine control and keep fatigue from building into a dangerous lag. On a long ride, a relaxed grip isn't just comfort, it's your edge when the road throws you a curve. Number 6. Skipping the 45-15 rule is the mistake that quietly erodes your focus, stamina, and control before you even realize what's happening. The Iron Butt community calls it the single most effective ritual for surviving long rides. Ride for 45 minutes, then stop for a full 15. Not a quick gas and go, not a scroll through your phone, but a real break. Grip strength and reaction time both rebound measurably after short, regular stops. Veterans report sharper awareness and fewer mistakes after adopting this schedule. Studies in both driving and occupational safety show that micro breaks restore mental clarity and muscle performance, even more than willpower or caffeine. The checklist is simple. During your 15, stand up, walk, stretch your shoulders and hands, drink water, eat a light snack, and check your route. Some riders use this window for a power nap or a quick gear inspection. The key is consistency. Set a timer if you have to. Riders who finally commit to the 45-15 rule report fewer microsleeps, less fatigue, and almost no lapses in vigilance. On a 1,000-mile day, this habit is your firewall against the mental and physical spiral that ends rides early. Make it non-negotiable. Number 5. Highway hypnosis is the silent thief that empties your mind long before your body feels tired. After just 20 minutes on a straight, featureless road, your brain starts to drift into autopilot. You're still handling the controls, but your awareness narrows, and the world blurs into a tunnel of pavement and wind noise. EEG and eye tracking studies confirm it. Reaction time slow, scanning goes flat, and hazard detection drops off sharply. Veteran long-haul riders tell the same story. 1 minute you're focused, the next you snap back, realizing you've missed a road sign or can't recall the last few miles. This isn't simple boredom. It's a measurable, time-bound risk that creeps in fast, even for experts. The fix is to interrupt the trance before it takes over. Plan your route to break up monotony, add in curves or changes of scenery, and set alarms or mental cues to snap yourself out of the zone. On a long haul, defending your focus isn't optional. It's the first line of survival. Number 4. Forcing unrealistic mileage goals is the mistake that turns a ride into a test of stubbornness instead of endurance. Chasing a number on the odometer, whether it's 1,000 miles for an iron butt certificate or a personal best, pushes riders to ignore every warning sign their body gives. Veteran reports are full of close calls, missed fuel stops, skipped meals, and exhaustion that sets in hours before the target is reached. One ADV rider participant described nearly collapsing after pushing for a spreadsheet goal, only to admit later that his body gave out 150 miles short. The fix is simple, but it goes against every overachiever instinct. Set a daily max hour cap, not a mileage target. Plan your route around hours in the saddle, build in generous margins for rest, and never let a number override your sense of safety. Riders who switch to hour-based limits report fewer mistakes, better decision-making, and more energy at every stop. On a long ride, the clock is your ally. The odometer is just a record of how far you made it safely. Number 3, trusting a single device for navigation or communication is the kind of mistake that can turn a planned adventure into a survival problem. When your only GPS fails, whether from a firmware bug, dead battery, or lost signal, there's no backup plan. In one documented case, a rider in the Mojave Desert lost GPS contact and had no paper map or written route. 14 hours stranded, a $1,050 rescue bill, and a lesson learned the hardest way. Firmware glitches, drained phones, and burned out power banks aren't rare. Search and rescue logs and rider forums are full of similar stories. The rule among endurance veterans is blunt. If it's not on paper, it doesn't exist. That means carrying a real map, offline route notes, a spare battery pack, and a backup way to call for help, like a satellite beacon or a second phone. Relying on a single point of failure isn't just about a planning error. It's gambling with your safety and your wallet. Redundancy isn't an optional upgrade, it's the minimum standard. Before you roll out, check your kit. Paper map, backup navigation, extra power, and a way to reach help if everything else fails. Out here, redundancy is survival. Number 2, riding through obvious fatigue signals is the mistake that turns willpower into a liability. Heavy eyelids, slow reactions, and zoning out at stoplights. These aren't just annoyances. They're the last warning your body gives before disaster. The science is blunt. Fatigue shreds your decision-making, triples your risk of missing hazards, and makes every mile a gamble. One iron butt veteran shared a near miss that changed his riding forever. He kept nodding off, telling himself he could push just one more mile. Minutes later, his bike drifted off the pavement onto gravel. Only a panicked grab for the brakes kept him upright. That scare forced him to set a new rule. The moment fatigue symptoms hit, he stops, no matter what. The checklist is simple. If your eyelids droop, if you can't recall the last few miles, if your braking feels sluggish, you're done for now. Pull over, hydrate, stretch, or nap. Test yourself at every stop. Can you recall the last 5 turns? Are your reactions crisp when squeezing the brake? If not, don't gamble. The road doesn't care about your pride or schedule. Out here, ignoring fatigue isn't tough. it's reckless. And finally, in first place, microsleeps are the last line you never want to cross on a long ride. These aren't just moments of zoning out. A true microsleep is an uncontrollable blackout, sometimes as short as a single second, sometimes stretching to 5. At highway speeds, even a 3-second lapse means you travel over 300 feet, more than the length of a football field, with zero awareness, no hands ready to react, and nothing between you and disaster but luck. Crash investigators know this pattern. A rider leaves the lane, never touches the brakes, and the cause is often invisible until a survivor describes the split second when everything went blank. One iron butt veteran told of nodding off near mile 900. He woke up with the bike drifting toward the shoulder, heart pounding, only luck keeping him upright. Many aren't so fortunate. Microsleeps don't feel like naps. You just lose time and the bike keeps moving. If a deer jumps, a curve tightens, or a truck swerves, you're not there to respond. That's why every layer, hydration, the 45-15 rule, stretching, and honest mileage limits exists to keep you from ever reaching this point. The checklist is non-negotiable. If you catch yourself nodding, if you can't recall the last few miles, or if you realize you've blanked out for even a second, the ride is over for now. Pull off, hydrate, nap, and do not get back on until you're fully alert. No schedule, certificate, or pride is worth gambling with a microsleep. Out here, the only rule that matters is this: if you black out, you stop. No exceptions. From subtle comfort errors like wrong riding posture to the life-threatening risk of microsleeps, our countdown of 13 mistakes exposes how even experienced motorcycle riders can turn a dream ride into a miserable and potentially dangerous ordeal. Across all entries, a clear pattern emerges. Most breakdowns don't start with a single catastrophic failure, but with small, ignored signals: numb hands, skipped hydration, unrealistic mileage goals, or trusting a single GPS device. The most shocking entries, like microsleeps causing riders to travel over 300 feet completely unaware, prove that mental fatigue and physical neglect are just as hazardous as mechanical breakdowns. This list reveals one truth: mastering long-distance riding is less about endurance and more about preparation, self-awareness, and respecting your limits. Every ranked mistake qualified, because it can be prevented with the right habits and gear checks. In the end, the difference between a legendary ride and a miserable one comes down to planning, listening to your body, and layering your defenses. Share your worst long ride mistake in the comments, and don't miss our next video on the 12 essential items every smart rider packs.